Hey guys, this is Josh Valencia and Sean Coyle. Say hi, Sean.
Hey guys.
And we are going to be working on the vocals, both background and lead, in what I hope is one video, but it might carry on the two. So, yep, do your thing, Sean.
Cool. So the way that I normally tackle back or just lead vocals first is I kind of start with my parallel compression. Once I get a main balance of how I like the vocals, I start with parallel compression because I feel like once I really bring that in, it brings out all the sibilants that will need to be de-essed later. So this time around, just went with the LA2A. As you can see, I squashed it. Let's just play a part so you can see on the meter how much.
Above the colored canopy.
Yeah, so you can see kind of hit it almost all the way to 20 dB, kind of hovers around 10 though. After that, I did some EQ, like I talked about. I've been messing around with that a bunch, putting it on either before or after the compressor. What I go for with the EQ on lead vocal is just kind of bring up a bunch. Sorry about that. So bring up a bunch of the highs. Don't really touch the lows. If anything, bring them out a little bit. And so what I ended up this time around, I ended up liking this so much that I didn't do any EQing after the fact. That ended up being all the EQ I did for vocals, besides taking out a little bit of mud. But yeah, let me mute the parallel compression, and so you can kind of hear what it adds.
Above the colored canopy on the setting spot of the 17 with the water.
So obviously it makes it louder. I think it kind of stabilizes it a bit and gives a little kind of more thickness to it. So the way I normally handle de-essing is I'm not a huge fan of actual de-essers. Just, I don't know, the way that, just the concept of editing frequencies, I don't know, just I haven't really been too fond of it. So what I ended up doing instead is I just manually de-ess. So I'll find all the spots. I'll listen through it and find all the spots that are harsh and just kind of manually de-ess them, play with them, see how much I want to take them out. So that's kind of how I tackle that. And then I also, maybe later on, if there's certain spots of the song that need to be completely lowered or raised, I'll do that in here as well and automate the volume. So now that I've covered that, I guess look at how I processed it. So, like I said, I love RVox, just kind of glues everything together. This time around, I really don't do too much compressing on it. Let's go to the chorus where it would be the loudest over here, and you can see that I really don't do too much.
Off of Brighton Beach with the water duct running underneath.
Yeah, so it maxed out at 1.4 reduction. Also, every now and again, I'll bring out the MV2 just to mess around. It's more of a limiter, but what I like about it, it has the low and high level things that you can adjust. So this will hit the highs harder, and this will do the lows. So just kind of.
Yeah, so you kind of suck out mud. You kind of suck out mud with that one low.
Right.
And then the high, you kind of make those pop a little bit. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'll bypass them real quick, and you can kind of hear what they do. That's the wrong button.
Above the colored canopy on the setting spot of the 17 with the water duct running underneath.
So if anything, the RVox is what does a lot of it. The MV2 is just more subtle. And then, like I said, I took a little mud out. As far as the effects goes, pretty straightforward with everything else that I'd been doing. The only thing that is different was this, what I ended up calling the Duct vocals. That's kind of, like I said, I've been listening to a lot of the Mars Volta, and there was one track specifically where they had this delay on the vocals that a lot of times you might automate the delay to like mute it and just come out at the end of the phrase, so you kind of hear the feedback going, like carrying on like an echo. But what they did with this one was they had it go out through the entire verse, so like you could still hear the delay tucked in there the whole time, and it surprisingly wasn't distracting. So I wanted to try and emulate that here. What I did was just stock digi delay, pretty short, just a dotted quarter note, and then did a low pass filter, just taking out the highs like I'd mentioned before on the delays. Then what I did was with the digi stock compressor, I sidechained the vocals into here. I just sent it out the bus, sidechained, set it to the fastest attack. So as soon as the vocals hit, the compressor would take place. The release set super fast too. So whenever a phrase did end, the compressor would come up and the delay would become more prominent. Another way that you could go about doing that if you wanted it to be quicker is you could duplicate the vocals or whatever you want to do this for and move it slightly sooner and then just side chain that so it's already compressed before the vocal even comes in and then it releases before the vocal is done. I didn't really find that necessary this time. So you'll see
See me follow the electric line.
it pushes the delay down to like 12, 16 decibels and then you'll kind of hear how it comes back.
Taken with a stretch of track.
Yeah, so you can hear more of it at the end. So that's kind of what that's doing. And my theory with everything lately has been like, if it makes noise, distort it.
Decapitate it.
Yeah, so this doesn't really do too much, but a little bit.
Taken with a stretch of track. See me follow the electric.
Or nothing there, apparently. But I swear it does something. It's not just on there to take up CPU. And so I automated that just to be in the verses, and it comes out of the chorus. Same kind of thing with my wide effect. It only comes in the choruses and isn't in during the rest of it. And I think that's pretty much it for that. With background vocals, I don't normally parallel compress those. If it calls for it, then maybe. With panning, how I normally do it is I try to keep the things that are maybe higher, like the higher octave ones, more towards the center, and the lower octave ones kind of panned out a bit. I mess around with it though, so it changes. So that's kind of my theory with that. So no parallel compression. You can see I just have some of the trim tools up here for gain staging. With this, I just ended up high passing the bus. I didn't go through and manually high pass all of them, just because I didn't really think it needed it. RVox again, maybe a little more compression this time around, and then did some EQing, added a shelf just 1 decibel to everything pretty much at 7K and above. Added added some at 2 and took out some mud. So if I want to solo those, you can kind of hear what that ends up doing. All of that. Oops.
It's all I have to keep in place. One time.
Yeah, so obviously the EQ just made it more bright and prominent.
And the compression really brought it out. The RVox really got everything together, and they sounded like they were even performing tighter, which is really cool with RVox.
Yeah, like I said before, it just kind of pushes whatever you put it on. It just pushes it up in the mix, so you can kind of see. Like
It's all I have.
You really don't need to make it work that much to get it to do things, which is cool. Then yeah, with the effects, it's pretty much more the same as always. The only thing that's different is I threw the oil tanker on it. I normally don't do that on vocals just because it can sound weird, but this time around I thought it was fine. So you can just kind of see like what that does on vocals.
It's all I have.
Yeah, so as you can hear, that kind of just feedback of the vocals can be weird sometimes, but I think it was pretty tucked in the mix where it wasn't really an issue. I guess I can just bypass all this and you can kind of hear what everything does.
It's all I have to keep in place. One time.
Yeah, so the verb, just to give it more space, obviously the wide, I really like the wide effect on background vocals especially.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, on backgrounds, I love it. I push that up definitely more than I would like the lead vocal. I mean, obviously this time around it's not that much different. But yeah, that's pretty much it with
The vocals?
I think so.
All right, that's a pretty sweet video. But like I said before in the others, be sure to leave your comments And any suggestions you have, we'll be sure to look at those. And yep, subscribe, follow, like, do everything. And yep, thanks for watching. Bye bye.